All right. Ugh.
Are we live now or are we waiting?
Yeah, no, we're live, and I figure we're gonna hang tight for just a minute or so. See if anybody jumps on.
Welcome, neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job, Tom Hanks.
Excellent job.
If anybody's peeping on there, we got, what is this? Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
That's what we're
waiting for our neighbor.
That's what we're watching while we're waiting for all you chuckleheads to tune in and start watching our corny video.
Could you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Come check it out, people.
What's that? It's a big blob. It's like my dream.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I felt like that some days.
So that's the way you turn the things into?
Kinda. Yeah. Kinda. The one.
Yeah.
You know, the other one was a little different. It was like a, I don't know, it was just more like a defigured thing. Yeah, I wish I could like go live on both accounts. That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. How would we do that?
There's a way to do it, and there's a way to do it with one camera. I just don't know what it is.
We should figure that one out. So which one are you doing right now?
That one is on the guitar account. Hey, do we have somebody watching?
We got somebody?
We got 2 people watching.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? Who's looking? Who's watching?
Shout out. Let us know who you are.
Yeah, we can't like see who's on, so you know, like post comments and stuff. Yeah, we're all excited. Like, whoa, look, there's people looking.
People, hello. We've been waiting for
Yeah.
at least 3 minutes.
Exactly, man. Get on with it. Call your friends. This is gonna be a good one.
This is a up close and personal.
Well, you know, like that one time when I was 9 and never mind.
I can't talk about that. It's too personal.
Yeah. It's not the way things work anymore.
I know.
Oh man, I think we lost somebody. Dang.
We're down to 1?
We are down to 1. And whoever our lone watcher is, please post.
Yeah, please let us know who you are.
Hey, that was not rehearsed. Because yeah, it doesn't tell us who's on, so it'd be cool to like see if people we know are actually like on there. Because you know, sooner or later we're just gonna start talking about the stuff that you know we're on here to talk about, and you guys are gonna miss it.
Which is going to be like music stuff and guitar stuff. And
we're gonna be having a great time, and you guys are just gonna miss it, and that's gonna suck.
And we want you to come along for the ride, so.
Yeah, we really do.
We really do.
We're involved in this because this is a really kind of a special kind of thing.
Yeah, it's epic, actually, for me.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here.
Unprecedented.
All right, well, you want to just get on with it and just hope people...
Sure, well, they can always watch it later.
That's right. So, here's what we got this time, guys. You know, last time Brian and I sat here and we talked to you about the guitar and told you, you know, all the nuts and bolts of it, almost literally. This time, it's less about the guitar and more about the energies that drove it into existence and the things that make Brian and myself tick. And we have an interviewer this time. We have Mr. Ethan here, who has a list of questions he is going to ask us, and we're going to answer them and kind of give insights on that and banter back and forth. If you guys have questions, we absolutely encourage all of you to take advantage of that. Did somebody just pop up in the corner, or is that something in the reflection?
It could be a ghost.
No, I think somebody's on. Let me look. What is that? Who is that? Oh, that's John. Hey, what's up, John? Sweet. All right, so where do you want to start?
And Ethan is. I have to say this ahead of time. Ethan is fair and impartial and unbiased, so this will be an honest interview.
That's right. That's right. Not pointed at all.
Not pointed at all. There's no skew to it. No agenda.
And no evidence at all that he's related to one of us.
No.
All right, so yeah. So where do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
Questions, probably.
Okay. All right.
And thank you guys, by the way, for listening in now or watching later. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Definitely. Thanks. Oh, hey, what's up there, John? Thanks for the message, man. Yeah, and if you're watching it live, that's awesome. And if you catch it later, please leave comments because we really do look at them, and this is going to be really awesome. And anyway, so you want to start at the top of the list or the bottom?
Yes.
All right, pick one.
All right. I'll just go with the first one. So this is for Jeff. Who are some of your influences?
My biggest influence has got to be Joe Satriani. That's who's got his, probably my deepest roots go with that. But I got to admit they're pretty broad. Believe it or not, the guy that made me first want to ever play the guitar ever was Rocky George from Suicidal Tendencies.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a stretch, but that's cool.
Right? And it was before I even knew like what the guitar could do. I heard a song of theirs and he just had this tone and this melody. And I didn't even know what it was. But I was like, man, there is some energy going on that this instrument's making. I want to be able to do that.
I was not expecting that. That's cool.
Right? And yeah, it surprises me sometimes. And so yeah. That was like the guy that really made me want to pick the guitar up to begin with. Joe made me want to pick it up and be good at it. But along the way, it's been like, oh man, I mean, Jeff Beck, of course, is in there. Steve Vai, of course, is in there. And Prince, has influenced some of the things I do.
One of my favorites of all time.
Right. And then, you got some jazz guys like Joe Pass and Larry Carlton have given me a little bit of influence in there, and some lesser known guys, like my buddy Travis Larson, influences what I do and what I play. So, of course, when I was cutting my teeth, man, I was a metal guy, and so I got to put in. I don't even want to say it now, but
go ahead.
Kirk Hammett.
Kurt
in the early days.
He's a really good guitarist. So
for
what he does.
He was an influence early on.
That's fine. I don't judge. For what he does, Kurt is really good.
Yeah, he's got his thing, man, and he's in a huge band, and they're successful.
Yes.
So
we got a lot more money than we do. So
yeah. Ones that you might not really see on the surface. Paul Gilbert, of course.
Love Paul.
Yeah,
Paul's amazing.
He's such a rad dude.
One of the most amazing. I will have to say this. I forgot who he was.
Really?
Until I went to until I went to a Mr. Big show a few years ago, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Gilbert.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's
crap. He is
awesome.
And if Paul, if you see this, I'm sorry, I forgot who you were, but my God, you're awesome. So yeah, absolutely, I get that one. That's amazing.
I will also throw out another Paul, old friend of mine, a guy that you guys may not know, Paul Hansen. Paul Hansen, a fantastic guitar player, fantastic teacher. He's the guy that taught Michael J. Fox how to play for Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
in the movie. He's the bass player in Marty's band.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's
in
cool.
the movie. And
that's
so yeah,
cool. I did not know that.
Influenced me in his ways. And so anyway, that covers it. There's of course 100 others, but that pretty much covers the top layer.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Next question.
All right, another one for Jeff. What amps and effects do you use?
Okay. Over the years, I've used a lot of things. I am currently using a Kemper and a Kemper alone. I'm the amps that I model are a Carbon Legacy 3 of all things for my clean channel. I owned one of those amps in real life, and it was absolutely amazing. The clean channel on an amp, man, is stunning. I bet it's probably your amps will probably rival it. You know, that thing was amazing. I modeled a sewer amp for my rock rhythm, a Mesa, of course, for my heavier tones, and of course the crown jewel of them all, a Bogner, is the amp that I use for my lead tone. I don't really use a lot of effects, really. A little bit of delay, and that's really about it. You know, a tiny little bit of compression just to tighten up the sound a little bit. And then, of course, you know, I've got and an influence that I forgot, and it's a great reference, Buckethead, right? The guy does some really cool compositions that are basically based on effect sounds, and so I've got some kind of special effects tones as well. But that's a cool question. So yeah, it's a Kemper's what I use, and I play through FR speakers, and really minimal effects, still basically a little bit of delay and some reverb in it, and that's really about it.
So, side question.
Yeah.
Who do you think Buckethead is?
I know Buckethead's name, but I don't really know like who he is. He doesn't really. There was rumors that it was actually Paul Gilbert, but it's not.
No.
His name's Brian Powell, I think, is his name.
Okay.
Brian something or another. But yeah, I've seen him live, so I know he exists for real.
Well, yeah, he's a real person. Okay.
All right, what we got?
All right.
Ask Brian a question.
What inspired you to start?
Building guitars.
Sure.
It's a good question.
Oh. Actually, it's really funny. My first guitar was. It was I've been playing music forever, and I love music, and it was I think I can do this. Let me try it. So I built. My first guitar was actually a Telecaster. I called it Woody because it was actually, I made a Telecaster out of teak and holly, basically a boat guitar. Because I was thinking, oh, you know, something like, you know, I'll live on the water. It's like, oh, this would be great, you know. It's like the Parrot Heads get into this, and you know, it was just an experiment. And so I made this guitar. My son actually still has this guitar, by the way.
Oh, very cool.
And
how long ago was that?
Oh, 16 years ago,
Okay.
17 years ago. And it's like, all right, I could, you know, I gotta try this, and I made it, and it didn't suck. It wasn't to my standards now, but it was pretty cool. And I was like, okay, this was pretty fun, and it went from there. And then I made a few more. I made a couple basses and a couple more electric guitars, a couple more Telecasters, and then I decided one day, it's like, well, I'm not an electric guitarist. I'm not a lead guitar player. I play acoustic. So I said, I need to try making an acoustic. So I actually bought a kit from a luthier company online, and I made it. And I still have it. My son's gonna end up owning it someday. It's got cracks in it. The neck's too fat. It plays, and it sounds okay, but it was, you know, I finished it, and it made music. I would never play it in front of anyone, but I finished it. So when I finished it, I was like, all right, this was amazing. This was really fun. So what I did was I took the experience I had there, and I went on and I made the next one and the next one, and I I went in and I found the things I did wrong the time before, and I tweaked them, and what I found along the way is, and this is so people that want a custom guitar versus a mass-made guitar. I will tell you this: you got companies like Gibson, Martin, Taylor. They make absolutely amazing guitars. I have a Taylor sitting over here in my quiver that I love to play. An OM that is amazing. It's a 20th anniversary. I love the thing. What I will tell you, the difference between one of their guitars versus a guitar that's made by a boutique luthier. Those guys have it down to a science, but they use that science for every single guitar.
Right.
Whereas the boutique guy like me, I'm sitting there with the braces on the soundboard, tapping on it and sanding until I get the tone right. They don't do that. They know the bracing size that should work. They glue it on, and guess what? The guitar sounds amazing, but it's not going to be as good as it can be because every piece of tone wood that you use is not the same. Am I saying that they're doing something wrong? No. They are amazing. But the difference between what they do and what I do is I spend more time tapping.
Making
sanding,
that guitar
tapping,
sound as
sanding.
good as it
Yes.
can. Instead of just
Yes,
guitar
because
that
I'm
sounds
not
good.
mass
That's
producing.
an
I'm
awesome
making.
point you
Oh,
got.
it's a one of. It's a one of.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Would I say not buy one of theirs because of that? Hell no. I love their guitars. All of them are amazing. So I'm not bad mouthing any of them. They are all amazing at what they do, and obviously they've been around long enough that yes, they are experts. But it's that little attention to detail that I get to do for a guitar that makes it cost a little more, and it takes a little longer. But for the right buyer, it's
way more
worth
unique.
it.
It's way more personal.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So, anyway, I probably rambled on too long on that, but I'm passionate about it. So, next question:
All right. Do different woods affect tone?
are we talking acoustic or electric?
Let's talk electric first.
Okay. The answer on both is yes. Most people think that the wood has no effect on electric guitars. It's absolutely false. It's not as drastic as it is with acoustics, but it's still there. So what you will get is, again, in the same thing in acoustics, you get a resonance and a sustain and a warmth. And again, those are things that people don't normally associate with an electric. It's all about the pickups. No, it's not. The neck matters. The fingerboard matters. All of it matters. So yes, they have a huge effect. And you pick the woods based on what you want for a tone, and that's why my electrics, especially, I don't use traditional woods because they've been ingrained in the society of electric guitars so much that it's like, well, it's got to be alder or ash. Well, no, it doesn't.
Right.
Or a Les Paul mahogany, which actually, if you look at it, you're going to get a richer tone because mahogany is an awesome tone wood, but Les Pauls are very heavy. But Les wasn't an idiot. He saw the positive aspects of having mahogany versus swamp ash or alder. So,
right.
So long answer to your short question: yes, it makes a difference.
Yeah. In relation to that one, this one is for Jeff. Is tone really in the hands?
I know this is very much a cliche thing, and it comes up in all the guitar circles. But yes, tone is very much in the hands. I could pick up Eddie Van Halen's guitar plugged into his rig and sound nothing like him, not just in the way I play, but the tone won't be the same. He could pick up my guitar plugged into my rig and sound like himself. And Brian and I talked about this a little earlier, that it's not just the rig. It's all the little micro things that one person does differently from another, from how hard you push on the string to, how hard you pluck and with what part of the pick and where in between the bridge and the neck you pick. All those things that you don't even think about add up to things that affect the tone. And when you've got, 6, 8, 10 different little microscopic things, now they add up to a big, huge personal difference in tone. So yeah, tone is very much in the hands.
This one's for both of you. What tone do you look for?
Like when you're going for a guitar solo for yourself.
For myself, okay. For myself,
yeah. What tone do you wish to create?
Because I was going, okay, that's a really, really broad question. That is all about the player. But what I look for is, if it's, again, so this would be for me. Ideally, I want the entire spectrum. I want to have a really full center, but the highs and lows to be fairly equal. I don't want a high end or a low end. And you ask some guitarists and they want one end of the spectrum or the other, depending on what they're playing. I want something that I can play everything on. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm an acoustic player. And right. I play, rock, country, folk. So I need a guitar that'll play everything. So I kind of wanted the best of all worlds. But you can tailor it different directions.
See what you did there.
But I try to, when I pick, especially for me, I try to pick something that's going to give me the whole spectrum. Now, if somebody wants something that's going to be a certain genre, I will select woods that will tailor to that. Cut out the lows or cut out the highs, or and you can do that with wood, and you can do that with bracing, and you can do that. I mean, it's not as easy as just going, oh yeah, let me put this together and make a guitar.
Right. For me, I'm actually pretty clear in the tone that I look for. When as an artist, as a guitar player, an electric guitar player. I think my tone is maybe a little bit warmer than a lot of others. My clean tone, I want it to have a little sparkle, but I don't want it to be bright. Because when it's bright, it's hard to, it occupies too narrow of a space in the spectrum. For my general rhythm tone, I like it to have a little girth, a little meat to it, but I don't want it boomy. I want it just have some balls. That's the best way I can describe it. My lead tone, however, that's
got to be.
It's my voice, because being an instrumentalist, that's what I have to tell the story with. So my lead tone, I don't like that really cutty kind of treble heavy shredder tone. It doesn't appeal to me. And I almost take a little bit of inspiration from Eric Johnson there. I like that really kind of upper mid singing kind of violin almost kind of tone without that real sharp attack. And I know that was pretty specific, but my lead tone is very specific, and that's what I go for is something that's it's got that singing kind of vocal quality to it. And I have to be in charge of making it tell a story from there. hope that was the answer you guys were looking for.
Well, warm tones.
Yeah, exactly.
Warm tones.
If you guys are just getting on and you're not familiar yet, this is the guitar that basically brought us together. We'll get to that a little bit later. This is a flagship guitar. It is in a lot of ways my signature guitar. Well, I guess it is.
It is your signature.
It is my signature guitar. And we told the whole story about this guitar a little bit earlier. But this is a 100% unique guitar, one of its kind, and we chose the wood specifically because it makes the sounds, it makes the tones I want it to make. I have to be in charge of making the sounds. So, little plug.
This one's for Brian. How much does the artist affect the tone?
Ooh.
Well, that actually is a huge part of it because, again, like we said, you take a guitar and throw it into different artists' hands, and you can't have another artist sound like one that sound like the other because it's a lot in the hands. The artist is a huge part of the tone. What I try to do is I try to give them the best possible instrument to make that tone. Now, the woods will affect the tone, but the artist ultimately makes the finished product.
So,
and again, this in his hands versus someone else's hands, it won't sound the same.
Mm-hmm.
But given what his style and what he wants to play, this is probably best suited for him. Could someone else play it and get another tone out of it? Of course they can.
Yeah.
But this wasn't made for someone else. This was made for him. So.
That's exactly right. That's a beautiful point, man. And I'll follow up a little on that a little bit. So you could make a guitar that sounds one way, and you hand it to a person that the guitar maybe isn't suited for, and it doesn't sound very good. So if someone calls you and is like, hey, looking to get let's say an acoustic, looking to get a guitar made, would it then be in their best interest to engage conversation with you about the way they play, so that you can perhaps design the guitar
Absolutely
suited to not just what they want, but also the way they play?
No, absolutely. And I don't just I just took an order this week, and I don't. It's like, what do you want? Okay. What are you thinking about wood wise? Okay, perfect. Okay, send me a deposit. Here we go. No, I need to know how their playing style is, what they're playing musically, what they expect the tone of the guitar. I mean, it's not a cut and dry one guitar fits all. I mean, it should be. Again, we talked about this. The mass producers make amazing guitars, but is every guitar going to fit every player? No.
Right.
Can they play it? Yes. Will it give them the end result they really, really want? No, not necessarily.
Sure.
But, and that's, beginners, go buy the cheapest guitar you can that has a good tone. I'll give you a list.
Yeah.
If you really, really enjoy it and you want to play, come see me or another luthier, or even ask me and I'll send you to Taylor or Martin and tell you which one you should get. I mean, they make amazing guitars. The guitar actually has to be tailored to your style and what you want to play.
And that leads to a really great observation that I'll make for anybody that watches. Is there are a lot of custom guitar companies out there.
There are, yeah.
And you can look up the guitar and it comes base model is this, and you get this option. Really, all it is though is you're ordering a car. You're telling it, this is the car I want, and these are the options I want on it, and they send it to you. They don't care what you play. They don't care what your style is. So if you've chosen perhaps wrongly or not best suited for what you want of it, you might not be happy with it. So when you call up and you get a hold of somebody like Brian, who's going to get involved with you as an artist, you're going to get a guitar suited to what you want it to do, not just something that's Otherwise, off the shelf.
No. Actually, if somebody wants something and in our conversation it doesn't jive with what they actually want to do, even if it's more money in my pocket, I'm not afraid to say no. Like, you should go this way.
Right on.
Because I never want someone to get an instrument from me and be unhappy with it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sit. I don't want to make. You know,
Art.
I make
Wall art.
I make I have $20,000 guitar. I don't want it sitting on the wall. If they're not playing it, I don't want to sell it. I would rather just have it sit in my house, and I'll play it.
Yeah.
But no, guitars are meant to be played, and that's the fact. And I don't want the wrong guitar with the wrong person.
Right.
That's
awesome.
And that's why this took a while, because I had to make sure that what we were designing for Jef was the guitar he really wanted. And I'm very happy to say that I'm pretty sure it is. So.
It very much is, you guys. It has been a little bit of a wait, and I don't really want to elaborate on that because that's incidental. But this guitar, when we put strings on it and I picked it up and I played it, it felt like butter. More significantly, and we talked about this earlier, there's a difference between owning a guitar and that guitar belongs to you. This guitar is my guitar. I don't just own it. And when I put my hands on it and I played it, it felt like it belonged in my hands. You know,
what was built for you.
Exactly. It was built for me, and not just built and now I own it. So,
that's a question for Jef. How do you feel about chasing somebody else's tone?
I think it's preposterous. You know, and that kind of parlays into the conversation at hand. When you know, there's plenty of guitar players that have had just absolutely stellar tone. Again, I'll reference Van Halen. The guys, thousands of guitar players over dozens of years have chased his tone and never gotten it. You know, and I mean, Dimebag Darrell, as far as the metal guys go, that dude's tone is the benchmark for metal tone.
Dimebag, yeah.
And, you know, and you know, it's futile. It's futile to chase someone else's tone. And I said this to you earlier. If you want someone else's tone that badly and that accurately, hire them to play on your record.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you're not going to do it, and you don't want to chase that tone. At least I don't, because I don't want that person. I don't want to be that person. I'm myself. I want my own voice. So I want my own tone, and I think it's really a waste of time, a colossal waste of time to try and perfect someone else's tone, because that's already their tone.
Find your own voice. I mean,
exactly.
All right. You have a rock / funk / fusion style. How did that develop?
You know, people ask me all the time what style I play, and people that aren't familiar with guitar music, you know, they don't know what to deal. They don't know how to deal with answers other than, you know, I'm a rock player, I'm a jazz player. So yeah, I'm kind of a fusion player. I mean, I'm dyed in the wool. I'm a rock guy. You know, that's what I do, and I cut my teeth on the heavier stuff. You know, like you know, Metallica and earlier metal. And then I got into, you know, instrumental stuff. And when you go to school, you know, I went to JIT, and when you go to a school for music, you can't major in rock and roll. You know,
no.
They make you learn some other stuff. And so I had to learn a little bit of jazz, just being a part of that, and I'll come back to that in a second. And so that sort of did it, but like funk, there was something in just the graciness of the rhythm and the groove of funk that I was just like, I gotta get me a part of that, man. And so that kind of came into it. Now the jazz thing, right? You generally have two choices when you get to music school. You can study classical or you can study jazz. I love classical music, but I don't really want to play it because it's too regimented, it's too disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I lack discipline, but there was something about the spontaneity of jazz.
It's kind of free.
Oh, it lured me right in. You know, the idea that you could play something utterly amazing that was on the verge of just falling apart, and that would never happen again.
Just keep
But
it right there.
if you had a total train wreck, it also might never happen again. That same train wreck's not going to happen again. It's going to be somebody else's fault next time. But yeah, so that's kind of what did it. You know, growing up a hard rock player, that was what I was just into, and that's the roots of it. Jazz lured me in because I learned to appreciate more complex harmonies and melodies, and then funk, man, just the groove and the rhythm and that deep rooted graciness of funk it found its way into my playing. It's kind of incidental. So.
You said you play sounds versus notes. Can you elaborate?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this guy that's hanging out right now,
that's a good one.
John. He has heard many times my take on playing sounds versus notes. And I'll get a little bit technical for a second, and then I'll let go of it. So when you play notes, right, the interval from A to E sounds exactly like the interval from C to G. They're both fifths. They sound exactly the same. They're just in a different register. But what does that interval do for the music? What does the sound do? When I play something on my guitar, I don't really care what note it is. Now, I mean, of course, it needs to be appropriate and consonant with what I'm playing, but it's not the note. It's the interval. It's the relationship of this note to that note that I'm chasing. And I want it, every interval has an impact, kind of a word that it says. And so I'm much more concerned with intervals and sounds, you know, the sound of a phrase, not the sound of this note, this note, this note, this note, and this note, but what do they all say together? What does this interval say against this chord? And so that's how I stand on playing sounds versus playing notes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what notes you play if the sound they make doesn't mean anything in the context.
Playing lots of notes versus fewer notes. Where do you stand?
That kind of.
Oh, we had that conversation earlier.
Right, that kind of ties in.
It does.
There is a place for really technique-driven stuff. You know, it's impressive to watch someone play, you know, very technical, technique-oriented guitar sounds. But somebody a long time ago, Victor Wooten, planted this idea in my head. He said the notes that you play, he didn't say this, but he led me to this. He said the notes you play are the seeds you plant. The space in between them is where the story you're trying to tell grows. Actually, I said that, he didn't say that.
But if there's no space in between,
then they can't grow.
They can't grow.
Exactly. The more notes you play, the more you are telling your listener what to hear. You're not giving them room to hear what the story's telling them. So while I definitely appreciate, you know, fast and technical passages, that's what they need to be. They need to be a passage, and that passage needs to tell its own story and not just be a demonstration. Okay? So
yeah.
How do you feel about that, Brian?
Well, no, I agree 100%. I will. God, I hope he doesn't see this because I don't want to be mean, but I love you very much, but Yngwie, let us take a breath. Yngwie Malmsteen is an amazing guitarist, but it's a sensory overload. He is incredibly talented, but let us breathe, please. I love what he plays, but it's too much.
It's much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
But that's my feeling on it. Uber talented, and people like that as well. But give us a space to breathe, like you said, and actually take in what we've just heard instead of being bashed by notes.
Yeah.
Till we're like exhausted and
Yeah.
can't even remember what we heard. So sorry, Yngve. I love you, man. Like, really, really, honestly.
So why or how did you guys start working together?
You want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll start on this one, and then we can just kind of build the story.
Okay.
All right. So, NAMM show in 2019.
2019.
NAMM show 2019. I was at NAMM with another company who turned out the founder of that company is a mutual friend of ours, and Brian was sharing a booth with them. And so we were introduced, and at first it was just like, hey, this is Brian, this is Jeff, and oh, hey, what's up? Cool, hang out. But we had a chance to just kind of shoot the bull for a while, and we started talking about just getting to know each other. And as the day went on, I got to kind of understand that Brian was really about more than just slapping a guitar together and sending it on out the door. And I'd been thinking about a guitar design for at least 20 years. I had a very specific thing, a way of constructing it that I'd never seen done before, and I wanted it to eventually come to life. And I had no idea how to build a guitar, and Kiesel's sure as hell not going to build it for me.
Sorry, Kiesel.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, all right. All right, I gotta drop that right where that's at. Okay, so we got to talking, and I was like, hey, Brian, what do you think about this for a construction idea? And Brian lit up and he went, man, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. And the fact that he jumped on it like so wholeheartedly, it flipped a switch in somewhere in me that said, this guy right here is somebody I want to be involved with. I want to have a professional and artistic relationship with this dude, because he didn't bat an eyelash at this idea that I'd been holding in myself for 20 years. And the more we talked, the more it just exposed itself. Brian didn't expose himself to me.
I will say that I never exposed myself.
Not today.
No.
But yeah, the more it exposed itself that this was somebody that I needed to basically hand over a child of passion of mine and trust him with bringing it to life. And real quick, and then I'll hand it back over to Brian. But when it came to this guitar, I knew how I wanted it constructed, and I knew kind of the shape. And once we agreed that this was going to happen, I made the 5-hour drive down here to talk to him, and we took a template and we drew the guitar out on a slab piece of wood, and we started literally by hand with hand files, and we cut it and shaped it and did all the contours until it was basically what we wanted. And we had this chunk of wood that was like, okay, here's what it needs to look
close
like.
to the shape, yeah.
And I handed him, this slab of wood, and with all the contours marked with pencil and measured the depth and all that stuff, and so that it could be reproduced. And knowing how the guitar was going to be done, I basically handed him this slab and said, okay, cross both fingers.
That's what I want.
Brian, bring this thing to life. And here it is. And it's absolutely stunning. So, Brian, what do you got?
And I cussed him so many times for this thing. It was a pain in the ass to build. But I love it. I absolutely love it.
But as far as like how you ended up seeing what I wanted done and accepting.
So you had an idea and there were some things in it that were going to be really technically difficult that didn't need to be. So it was, how do we simplify this but still make it the same guitar? So we did, and what we came to was, the most important part of this guitar was that the neck had to go through to the bridge.
Yeah.
And the body was extra for tone and resonance. But that was the biggest part of this thing. And then my thing was, he is an instrumentalist on a 7-string. His fingers are all over the place, and he needs a thin neck. So, well, how am I going to do this without worrying about the neck twisting? And so I came up with a composite neck with 7 pieces, and yeah, this thing came to life, and it was an interesting journey because I've never done anything like this before, and but I'm happy where it ended up, and we were back and forth a lot talking about it, and you know, long distance we managed to make this thing happen. So
I will almost kind of stroke my own
you go
part
ahead.
in this, and I'm going to ask you about this though,
Okay.
Because I think this is important, and for me, I find it very flattering that you even jumped on this and said, okay, I'll make you this guitar. So you must have seen something in what I do and the way I approach the guitar and the things that I play that were like, you know, you could have been like, you really suck, I don't want you representing my guitars. So I'm thank you for seeing something in what I do.
Well, no, I perfectly blunt. It was, you came to our booth at NAMM, and you plugged in and played a little while. And it's like, you're not a noodler. I mean, I knew you were a good guitar player. I had no idea exactly how good you really were because you weren't really playing there. You were playing, but you weren't playing. But when you presented these ideas to me, it's like, okay, he's got a really good concept of what a guitar should do, and so that's why I bought in. And then we spent more time together, and it's like, yeah, he needs this guitar. And it was, you know, my only regret is that it's taken so long to get it to you, but it had to be right. So it's right. Finally. And now I know how to make another one. So, and I won't make another one of these. I'll make one similar, but not this one, because it was a pain in the ass.
Well, let me throw this out, man, as just sort of a credit to you. I remember I posted a video on Instagram, and later that same day, Brian called me. Like, not a text. You know, it wasn't just like, hey man, cool video. Dude actually called me and had some very flattering things to say. And I was so stoked about that. And to kind of wrap up what I have to say about this, it was basically, man, it was your passion. It was your passion for making the right guitar happen. And I was just drawn to that. I was like, man, this is the dude.
Thank you.
Because you shared, on your own side of it, you shared a desire to make this thing happen. Me as a player, of course, but you know, you really wanted to bring this guitar to life as the builder, so that you could be the guy standing there saying, I made that guitar.
Well, it's the right guitar for the right player. It's, you know, everybody wants that perfect complement to what they do. And as a luthier, it's an honor to have an opportunity to make the instrument for an artist's voice, given the right information. And because you know, I make guitars, and you know, people can pick them up and play them really well, and I try to make something that I would love to own and love to play for everyone, but to be able to actually collaborate on an instrument with an artist and make their voice come out through it, that's the ultimate compliment for me, because we don't get to do that very often. You know, I don't have, you know, that kind of continual interaction with artists, and I wish I did, because I mean, I think every artist should have the opportunity to have a guitar made for them, not pick up a guitar and play it, but a guitar made for them. And that's what I try to do. I mean, that's why I do this. I love music. I love playing guitar. I love building guitars. And I love talented artists. And I'm glad that I've met this one. And he is awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Absolutely awesome.
I gotta put this out, man. And I don't know that I've said this before, but man, I'm flattered and grateful that you have enough faith in me to basically put my name on a guitar, and I'm the walking face of this project, and man, I just hope I can do you justice.
By the way, this model, what is it called?
Is the Legba.
It's the Legba.
You guys want to know why? Should we tell them why?
It's on you, man. It's your guitar.
Okay. So, you know, we talked about this earlier. Way back in my GIT days, and I won't tell that whole story because you guys can just go back and look at the other video. But I got a nickname. They called me Voodoo, which grew into Voodoo Jeff. And it was a nickname given to me by a phenomenal Brazilian guitar player friend of mine. And it started, anyway, that story's there. But in Voodoo lore, the way you speak to the gods, you have to go through one of their gods, Legba. Legba is the gate between you and the other gods. And when you want to speak to them, he's the one that decides whether or not you get to talk to them and whether or not they talk to you. Guitar playing for me, and for probably a lot of us, is very much like prayer. Prayer is talking to the gods. So when I feel like I need to pray, this is my channel. This is my connection from myself to the gods and from the gods to me. So the music can just come out uninterrupted. The unmetered flow from heart to hands.
And this is...
and you guys may not be able to see this.
You can take it up and zoom in.
And I know we showed this before. That inlay, exclusive to this guitar.
This one.
This guitar, yes. That is the symbol known as a bebe. That is the symbol of Papa Legba. So not only is it named for him, but it has got his blessing burned right into it. And so yeah, it's pretty awesome. Oh, what do we got?
It's a one-off. It's a one-off.
Yeah. You guys, although you
Not
guys
gonna get it.
You guys will have the option to buy this guitar, to order one, and it will be very, 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 very similar. But this one is mine, so you will not get this one, and you will not be able to get that inlay. That's just for me. What do we got for a question there? Who's asking questions? But
Nick says, "Good to see your face, Jeff."
Nick. Oh, dude. Hey, what's up, Nick? I was actually just talking about you earlier, man. Yeah, cool, man. Same, right? I mean, I can't see you, but here we are. Yeah, last time I talked to you was right after I almost died. I didn't.
Gratefully.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, hey, you know what? We can tell that part of the story. So now I drove down here from Houston, or from Dallas to Houston, to pick up the guitar. The last time I saw this guitar was when we introduced it at the Dallas Guitar Show.
Yep.
The day after I got out of the hospital, I was in there with statistically 0% chance of surviving. I have a blood disorder that almost killed me, and I statistically should not have made it. The last time I saw this guitar was the day after I left the hospital, so that we could put this guitar up for display at the guitar show, and I was up there miserable because my leg hurt so bad from that damn clot,
and it wasn't done.
Yeah, well, it wasn't supposed to be done then. That was still
no,
right.
It wasn't.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so what's up, Nick? Thanks for being here, man.
It's been a long time coming, but hopefully she'll make you happy.
No, I have no doubts. She already has. So.
Any other questions, or was that it?
Yeah, you got. What we got, man? You guys have any questions out there? You got anything you want to ask, or do I have anything I want to ask you?
Do you?
I don't know. That was good. Thanks for dinner.
Oh, you're welcome. No, I'm just glad you're here. This has been an awesome project. I've learned a lot. It actually tested me as a luthier, because there's a lot of things that went into this build that I've never done before, and didn't think I was ever going to do. And it was very testing, but rewarding at the same time. And I love what we came up with, and I actually again, unless you're going to pay a stupid amount of money, you're not going to get another one of these, a 5-layer with a 7-layer neck. But I enjoyed it. And it's a beautiful guitar, and I actually want one myself. Not a 7-string, but a 6-string. But I'll make one eventually. It only took me 15 years to start on my own acoustic. So
Right.
Anyway, no, I'm glad we met, and that this collaboration happened, and I love what we came up with, and I hope it serves you well, actually.
Oh, I'm sure it will, man. I'm sure it will. No doubt about that.
So
we can tell them a little bit about like plans on a retail level. I know it's not really retail, but we can talk about that a little bit.
We can.
So what base model? We're talking 3-piece body versus 5.
3-piece. We will do a channeled, so it doesn't rip your shoulder off. This is heavy. I'm gonna do a channeled one. Also, it's gonna be 3-ply neck, not 7. Base model is probably going to be between 3,000 and 3,500, and go up from there. But it
options as much as budget
bells and
allows.
whistles, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Now the base will not be this. The base will actually come with dual humbuckers, 5-way switch, tone and volume if you want it. The kill switch is different; it's optional. So again, this is Jeff's guitar, but basically the base model will have the standards for most guitars. But again, work with you. Things added, things subtracted, they work out. But yeah. Body wise, we're going to do probably a maple core with walnut for the top and back, or we'll do a walnut with a quilted maple top and back.
Right. And so they're going to have the option if they want it to do quilted back.
Yes, they can.
Which is very cool.
Yes, they can.
Which is very cool.
And again, on the neck, I will probably do maple and walnut, or I will do a combination with the bloodwood because I still want to keep the bloodwood fingerboard for continuity on the actual guitar itself.
Because my name is on it.
Yes.
I'm going to throw this in, and again, we'll talk about this as it goes. I would like the standard neck to be walnut mahogany.
Okay. Walnut mahogany?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that. But bloodwood fingerboard.
Yeah. That's kind of a characteristic of this guitar was the bloodwood. And I know you guys can't see it from there, but the fingerboard is stunning. It's amazing. And oh my god, it feels so good. So yeah, I think that will be kind of
as long as you don't have to work with it.
Right. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool as the, kind
absolutely.
of the benchmark, the one thing that you can't change.
Mm-hmm. Works for me.
Okay.
You can change the inlay if that's it. I do love your minimalistic though.
Yeah, yeah. All my guitars are like that. I like it. So, and we can probably squeeze in some like glow in the dark side dots or something.
I can do that. I can do glow in the dark inlay, whatever they want, but they don't get this.
No, and like if they want like a little vial of their own blood like embedded into it.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
Okay. Well, cool, man.
Well, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you guys definitely. Thanks for jumping on. I know we had at least a couple of people on there that were not on the previous one, so that was really pretty cool. You guys, you can't tell, we're about to wrap it up. We've been going for a while. You guys have any questions out there that you want to ask? You want to ask either one of us personally? You want to ask about the guitar? Now's the time because we're going to jump off here in a bit. And nothing? No? Come on.
You can always ask later.
Yeah, that's right. They can always ask later. If anybody out there is in fact wondering, I'm going to throw this in. This right here that I'm leaning on is in fact one of Brian's amplifiers. If I didn't already mention that. Brian creates these amps. He builds them. They're not just a cabinet around someone else's amp. It's
from scratch.
Yeah, it's ground up, and they really sound amazing. I don't use them because it's kind of a different thing for me.
And you can't tour with this because it's ridiculously heavy.
Yeah.
Nick says, I don't know anything about guitars technically, but it looks beautiful.
Thanks, Nick, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I know you didn't get to hear about this guitar, back when we were talking regularly, or at least I don't think I mentioned it anyhow. A lot has happened since then, so But yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Brian gets the credit for actually putting it all together.
No, I love it.
I just thought it up.
No, thank you very much. I love the positive feedback. It's awesome. And yeah, this was definitely a labor of love for the most part. But no, I love this thing. I don't want it to go, but
yeah, and
it's going to good home.
Yeah, and we still have some. We still got some knobs to turn.
Of course we do.
And things to twist.
Yeah, we do.
Before she's actually homebound. But yeah, so for all you guys that have been following along, since we first announced that this guitar was coming, it's here.
It exists.
It does. It's ready. And thank you so much for the interest, and the support along the way, because I know we were both kind of pulling our hair out at different times.
Clearly.
Yeah. Right. Well,
Well, not you so much, but yeah.
So yeah, you guys, thanks so much for being on board with us and tuning in. We're gonna check out and kind of wind down our evening and get on with what we're gonna do. So yeah, from the bottom of my heart, at least, thanks for coming along.
Mine as well. Thank you, and watch for his new album.
Yeah, that's right.
Watch for his new album release.
The first EP is going to be called "Bribing the Baron," and the story behind that will be in the liner notes. So you're gonna have to buy the album.
And watch to see him play it live. on this baby.
That's right. That's right. Now that this is here, there will be a lot more regular live streams on the Voodoo Jeff Guitar channel. And there is also, okay, I'm going to plug myself here. Both of us have, of course, Instagrams. The Instagram for my guitar stuff, Voodoo Jeff, and
Brian Cole Guitars.
Brian Cole Guitars and Ocean Amplifiers, if
Yep.
you want to check those out. So, all right, that's it. I can only say thank you so many times before it sounds insincere.
Mea culpa. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. And everybody have a great, safe night.
Take care. Bye, guys.